My mom calls me selfish for wanting to buy a house when my sister is struggling after her second divorce, but I'm going ahead with it anyway. Now she wants me to live with her, but that's not going to happen. I'm here because I feel very stupid right now. I can't understand my mom's intentions when she said that at 32, I shouldn't buy a house just because my 36-year-old sister would feel hurt. My sister, who is bankrupt, divorced twice without judgment, and living off the money her ex-husband gives her, would feel bad if I buy a house with the money I've earned through hard work. Seriously, it's not like I'm going to follow her advice, but I'm baffled that she dissuaded me this way. You see, I've always been the responsible one. I took my studies seriously, worked hard, and put all my effort into securing a decent future for myself. My sister, not so much. She is 4 years older than me, and I've seen her make terrible decisions in life up close. She's always depended on someone else to fix her problems. My mom has always had a weakness for her, which created a rift between my mom and me. 3 months ago, after years of saving and planning, I finally decided to buy my own house. It wasn't an impulsive decision. I've been working hard for over a decade, living frugally in a miserable apartment, saving every penny, to one day have my own place. Last quarter, I received a nice bonus for reaching 10 years at the company, along with a substantial raise. I felt it was the right time to invest in something tangible, the house I've dreamed of since I was a child. I grew up in a dysfunctional family. My parents weren't married. My dad left us when I was 2, and he never contacted us again. My mom said she tried every way to get child support, but he just disappeared. He reappeared in our lives when we were adults, apologized, and wanted to rebuild the relationship, but we keep our distance.
That's a story for another time.
In short, my mom was a single mother and worked 2 jobs to raise us. I also started working while I was still in high school. We always lived in a rented apartment, and money was always a problem. So, I grew up with the dream of having a house one day. I had everything planned. I had even visited some properties within my budget. But before taking the final step, I thought it would be respectful to talk to my mom about it. I wasn't seeking her permission. After all, I'm an adult, but I thought she would be happy for me, even proud, and that's why I wanted to tell her. I couldn't have been more wrong. When I told my mom about my plans to buy a house, instead of being happy or congratulating me, she looked at me with surprise and disapproval. Her first reaction was, "Are you really going to buy it? Or is it just a whim?" I was stunned. What kind of question is that? I hesitated and replied, "Yes, I really want to buy it. And it's not just a thought. It's my dream to have a house. I've been saving for years, and it's time to have a place of my own." She pursed her lips and said, "I don't think it's a good idea." I was confused because this wasn't what I expected. I asked her why not, and she just dismissed it by saying, "No, no, no, it's not the right time for anything." When I insisted on an explanation, she said, "Your sister is going through a tough time right now. She's already struggling a lot. Can you imagine how she would feel if you buy a house when she can barely keep a roof over her head?" I couldn't believe what I was hearing. My sister's financial situation has always been complicated. She's been divorced twice. She married for the first time when she was just 18. Everyone warned her not to make that decision so soon, but she still dropped out of high school right before the final exams and got married. She divorced at 23, remarried at 27, and divorced again at 33. Her second divorce was a messy separation from her unfaithful husband, who still pays her the minimum required for support, just enough to survive. I can't say I was entirely surprised when her marriage fell apart. I predicted it long before it actually happened. She has a habit of spending afternoons with my mom, which drove her husband away. I don't justify his infidelity at all, but she is also one of the reasons he distanced himself from her. They used to have very ugly fights because she didn't spend time with him. She didn't go out with him. Most of the time, she was glued to my mom. They would go shopping, to the movies, and take walks together, leaving her husband alone at home. I don't know why, but she just loves spending every afternoon at my mom's house. They sit and gossip about anything and everything. My sister has always been a source of stress for me. After her first divorce, instead of picking herself up and finding a way to be self-sufficient, she moved back in with my mom. She has a very carefree attitude toward life and expects the best of everything. She dropped out of high school to marry the love of her life, and after that love fell apart, Mom asked her to go back to school, but she didn't. She worked in some jobs here and there, drifted around most of the time, and then got another loser, which resulted in another divorce. I even asked her to acquire some skills and get a job, but her lazy but refused to move. She relies completely on the crumbs her ex-husband is legally obligated to give her and the endless support from our mom. The interesting thing is that mom happily supports her, but I had to manage on my own. I worked hard to complete my education, juggling jobs and studies, until I finally graduated. I wasn't handed anything on a silver platter. Every penny I saved was through my own effort. And now, I wanted to use that money to secure my future, but my mom wasn't pleased. I was almost in tears from her reaction and replied, "I've worked very hard for this. I shouldn't have to put my life on hold just because she's not in a good situation." But mom said, "You don't understand how she feels. She has nothing. You have everything, a good job, savings, and even a boyfriend. Tomorrow you could announce that you're getting married, and I couldn't say no. But a house? No, it's too much for your sister to handle." I told mom it wasn't my fault if my sister's life was falling apart. She needs to take control of her life like I did. But mom's final argument was, she's your sister and families shouldn't rub each other's success in the misery of others. This wasn't the first time my mom tried to make me feel guilty for putting my sister's needs above my own, but this time it was too much. She was asking me to sacrifice something I'd worked for years just to avoid hurting my sister's feelings. And what if my sister never improves financially? Does that mean I should sacrifice my own happiness? Mom was offended, thinking I was belittling my sister. I wasn't belittling her, but it's true that she's had years to recover. It's not like this situation is new. Her situation has always been miserable, and she has already accepted it. Mom yelled at me, saying my sister is still recovering from her husband's infidelity and that I need to be patient. She said, "If you have nothing better to do with the money, give it to your sister." She wanted to start her online business, but hasn't been able to do so due to lack of funds. Her advice horrified me. I told her that would be the last thing I would do with my money. I'd rather spend it on a luxury vacation than give it to my sister when I know it won't be of any use. Our discussion turned into an argument. I tried to make her understand my point. Her divorce happened a long time ago, and she needs to move on, if she hasn't already, and sort out her life. Her personal crisis has nothing to do with my goals. But she wouldn't budge. She kept insisting that me buying a house would only make things worse, making my sister feel even worse about her situation. Finally, I set a boundary and told her, "No matter what you say or think, I don't care. I'm going ahead with my plan." I'm so distressed right now. How can parents be so cruel and insensitive sometimes? It makes me question my own sanity, whether I'm seeing things as they are or if I'm overreacting.
G.